The 1961 Ferrari 250 GT, California. Less than 100 were made. My father spent 3 years restoring this car. It is his love. It is his passion. It is his fault he didn't lock the garage. Ferris, what are you talking about? Ferris, my father loves his car more than life itself. A man with priorities so far out of whack doesn't deserve such a fine automobile.
I love that. Oh, yeah. Admiring that vintage red Ferrari there, where Matthew Broderick and his very best pal as two Chicago kids playing hooky from high school. It's in a scene from a wacky and wonderful new comedy called Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And on this sneak previews, we'll tell you if you want to take a day off to see it. What do you think? I'm Jeffrey Lyons. Michael?
And I'm Michael Medved. In addition to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, we'll review Back to School, with Rodney Dangerfield getting plenty of respect as a millionaire who becomes the world's oldest college freshman. The Manhattan Project, with John Lithgow as a nuclear physicist, matching wits with a high school science whiz who's built a homemade atom bomb. And Hard Choices, an exceptionally fine and realistic film about the crime and punishment of a misguided 15-year-old in rural Tennessee. And Nancy Glass will take a look at Hollywood's casting call for some brand-name products. But first up, here's a brand-name movie critic who also just happens to be the world's most likable colleague, Jeffrey Lyons, with his review of Back to School. Jeffrey?
You're too kind, Michael. Back to School is a comedy starring Rodney Dangerfield as a rich clothing manufacturer with a son in college. When the son says he wants to drop out of school, his father convinces him otherwise. And to show his son how great college can be, Rodney himself enrolls as a freshman. Once on campus, every student needs books, right? So Rodney heads for the bookstore with some outrageous results.
Hey, you guys got everything you need?
Oh, yeah, we got it.
Hey, what's with the used books?
What's wrong with used books?
They've already been read.
Yeah, and they already been underlined too, get it?
That's the problem. The last guy who underlined it, he could have been a maniac. Hey, get these guys some new books. Get some new books, will you? I'll tell you what, charge it to me too, okay? Here, pick a card. Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm taking 4 of those school sweaters, a bunch of pennants, some of those beer mugs, a few of these fuzzballs you cheer with, and... Hey, folks, it's on me. Shakespeare for everyone, okay? You too, honey. Ooh, I'd like to tame your shrew.
Who is that?
That is Mr. Thornton Mellon, the world's oldest living freshman, and the walking epitome of the decline of modern education. The stupid clod thinks he can buy his way out of the gutter.
Oh, I don't think so. I think he was just having fun.
Oh, really? Well, I can't wait to get him in my class. We'll see how much fun he is then.
Oh, Philip.
Later, Rodney's become attracted to his English literature professor, whom you saw there, portrayed by Sally Kellerman. She agrees to meet for dinner because in him, beneath his crudeness, way beneath his crudeness, she senses a gift for learning. And in her, Rodney senses a beautiful woman, eager perhaps for love.
Actually, I was married twice. My first wife, Jason's mother, I really loved her. We had a good thing going, you know. She passed away about 10 years ago. After that, I ran for a few years, and I really went nuts. I married Vanessa. I was just lonely, I guess. I don't know.
Is that over now?
Oh, we were doomed from the start. I'm an earth sign, she's a water sign. Together we made mud. Oh, I picked up beauty. She played around, too. When she said I do, I should have said with who.
So are you giving up on women?
I don't know. I can't figure them out. Today they're independent. They only think about themselves. But during sex, Vanessa, she used to scream out her own name.
I think it's the men who are different. Ever since the women's movement, most of the men I meet go out of their way to show you how sensitive they are. Before they were too macho, and now they're too soft. You all want us to know you can cry.
Now, with women, I never cried, never. I beg.
If we finish this bottle of wine, you won't have to beg.
Back to School is a movie about a schlump who becomes a champ, about a man who explores possibilities in himself he'd never dared consider before. And what about laughs? I laughed my head off. Rodney's crude one-liners, and they are often crude, his slouchy stumble around campus, and the way he gets into and then almost out of outrageous situations struck me as a bit pathetic, a bit contrived, but also very funny. Back to School, I think, is going to be one of the big comedy hits of the summer.
Jeffrey, I agree with you, and I liked it a lot better than Rodney's last movie, Easy Money. Because in that film, he's playing sort of a crude loser, somebody who's very difficult to like. But here, he's playing a genuinely nice guy. He's lovable, he's devoted to his son, he's kind to everybody, and after all, he is a millionaire. He's got it made. He's not a loser at all.
We're also seeing a new Rodney here, not just as a stand-up comedian who can have me on the floor when he says to a football player or somebody, that guy's an animal, he's only the second generation in his family to walk upright. After that, you see a guy who is a good actor. He interplays with everybody else to keep the tone of the comedy going throughout the movie. He's ensemble acting here. I never knew he had it in him.
And you even see him reading some Dylan Thomas poetry and doing a moving, touching job of it. And you mentioned the other actors. They're universally good in this film. Keith Gordon, who is also the star of the Stephen King movie Christine, is wonderful as Rodney's son, creates a touching relationship. And Sally Kellerman, it must be said, has never looked more beautiful, never appeared more appealing in a movie than she does here.
And Paxton Whitehead as that pompous teacher. And if it's possible, Michael, to find a message in a Rodney Dangerfield movie, all right, hear me out. Okay. It does show the dichotomy between what you learn in school and what goes on in real life. Here's a guy who's a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks, showing that life is not like what you learn in school.
It is a good point, and I think a lot of the credit for the success of this film goes to Harold Ramis, who is also one of the stars and producers of Ghostbusters, who co-wrote this film, co-produced it, a triumph for all concerned.
So I get some respect for you for that.
Absolutely, because we agree. Our next film is called The Manhattan Project, and it tells the story of a high school science genius who somehow manages to steal plutonium from a local weapons lab and to assemble a nice medium-sized atom bomb in his basement. Now, he plans to enter this handy-dandy gadget in a high school science fair, good entry, but before he can win first prize, the lab discovers that the plutonium is missing, and it sends out one of its top scientists, played by John Lithgow, to try to bring the kid to his senses.
I wish the world were a simpler place, Paul, but it's not. Don't worry about it. They can't do anything to me. Why not? I'm underage. Oh, that's really brilliant. What do you think this is, the school play? They don't care how old you are or how cute. They're gorillas. They can hurt you, don't you get it? If you try to tough it out with them, they'll lock you in a room somewhere and throw away the room. It's really that important to you? It's not just to me, Paul. To everybody. Now, what do you say? Okay. That's better. Where is it? Oh, no. Not now. What do you mean, not now? When? After the fair. Oh, come on, Paul. But it's got to be judged. I'm going to win first prize. You're joking. No. Did you see the junk they got down there? Paul, forget the science fair. It's over. Okay, no more science fair. Look, this is top secret stuff. Nobody sees this. Not ever. You could start a war for God's sake. Now stop screwing around before it's too late. Paul, for God's sake. It was here, I swear. Jenny must have taken it. The girl hasn't been out of our sight. Then somebody must have stolen.
All right, son, would you come with us now, please?
In just a minute.
Okay, Doctor, we'll take it from here.
Yeah, but he's telling the truth.
Fine. He has nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's true that he has nothing to worry about because eventually he manages to escape from those nasty federal agents and to recover his beloved bomb. But instead of dismantling it or turning it over to the authorities like he should, this kid threatens to blow it up unless he gets his way in terms of attention and publicity. And in this scene, he demands that Lithgow meet him at the top secret weapons lab from which he's pilfered the plutonium in the first place.
This is position 2. They're coming through, approaching the detector. Okay, position 2. We copy. He's got it all right. There's the core, explosive package, electronics, tamper, batteries. Nice design, actually.
Is it armed?
Nope.
You certain?
Mm-hmm. It's all in sections.
Paul. We know it's not on, Paul. So I want you to put it down and walk away.
Walk away?
That's right. I'm going to count to 3.
Hey, let me talk to him.
Doctor, stay out of this.
Conroy on that thing. One, this wasn't part of the deal. 2, don't hit the box. Got plutonium in that hole!
Despite a few moments moments of tension in scenes like that one. Most of the Manhattan Project is confused, and it's slow-moving, and it is full of problems. The first problem is our total lack of sympathy for the high school kid who's treated as the hero. Now, FBI or anyone else. And then there are long, dry stretches that highlight all the mechanical details, which might have been great for a science fair project, but make for a very dull motion picture. The Manhattan Project is never quite bad enough to explode in our faces, but it is, you should pardon the expression, a bomb.
It also wastes John Lithgow, a perfectly wonderful actor, in a supporting role. But I think the first problem is not our lack of sympathy with the kid, with which I agree, but it's the title. When I thought of Manhattan Project, I thought it'd be about Enrico Fermi, about the project with the atomic bomb during the war, about Oppenheimer, people like that, and it's not about that at all, really. It's a deceptive title.
And it never explains the connection whatsoever. One of the disappointing things in this movie is that it's written and directed by Marshall Brickman, who's best known as Woody Allen's collaborator on some of his greatest screenplays, including Annie Hall. And so you expect that this is going to treat a bizarre subject with a sly sense of humor. But this film has no sense of humor. It's somber, it's grim, it is not entertaining in the least.
You expect the wit Marshall Brickman usually delivers. You also do not expect to be lectured to. I know the atomic bomb is a terrible thing, and if it falls in the hands of somebody like this kid, perhaps it could be a catastrophe. That's the major premise of this film. I don't need to hear that.
But that's one of the problems. Sure, we're aware of the danger that some terrorist somewhere could steal plutonium and then build a bomb. But it's very hard to try to make a movie where the kid who's acting as that terrorist is supposed to be admirable.
And it's formulaic. It's just war games. It's one kid against the system with the government after him.
And the kid who is against the system, Christopher Collett, is bad. You're always aware when he's on screen that he is acting.
You know who could have played the role? Matthew Broderick. I say that with good reason, Michael, because
Sounds like a transition.
In our next movie, Matthew Broderick, who could have done that movie a lot of good, plays Ferris Bueller in a movie called Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now, Ferris is a brash and audacious yet lovable Chicago teenager. Now, to enjoy a beautiful spring day and to avoid a test in school, Ferris fakes an illness and plays hooky. But what fun could be cutting classes if you have to do it alone? So Ferris fools the strict school principal into thinking his girlfriend's grandmother has died and that her father is picking her up outside school. And here, while waiting for her ride, the principal tries to comfort the girl.
Man that is born of woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of misery. He cometh up, and is cut down like a flower. He fleeth as if it were a shadow, and never continueth in one stay. Oh, dear. Between grief and nothing, I'll take grief.
Oh, Sloan, dear. Hurry along now.
I guess that's my dad.
Yeah.
Gotta go. Mr. Rooney. Ed. You're a beautiful man.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for your warmth and compassion. Hi.
Do you have a kiss for Daddy?
Are you kidding?
So that's how it is in their family.
What can I say? After picking up another friend, off they go on a day-long joyride around Chicago. They go to a Cubs game. They go to the Art Institute. Even take a dip in an outdoor jacuzzi somewhere. And what busman's holiday would be complete without taking in a parade? But when Ferris Bueller's on his day off, he is the parade.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're such a wonderful crowd. We'd like to play a little tune for you. It's one of my personal favorites. And I'd like to dedicate it to a young man who doesn't think he's seen anything good today. It goes something like this.
What are you doing? Thank you for all the joy. Picture shows
As long as I know that everything works for him, there's nothing he can't handle. I can't handle anything. School, parents, future. Ferris can do anything.
You're crazy! Ferris Bueller's Day Off is one of the funniest comedies of recent years, I think. Writer-director John Hughes, who made 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Pretty in Pink, has created a character here with an astonishingly wry sense of humor. And here's a kid who has the observations of an adult, which he often shares directly with the audience. I like that. And the precociousness of a kid. And Matthew Broderick, with his deadpan, innocent Alfred E. Newman smile, gives a perfect performance. And you know, Michael, I hope someday my little son has some of the qualities of Ferris Bueller. Matthew Broderick, too, perhaps.
Yeah, but I hope he doesn't have too many of the qualities of Ferris Bueller. Otherwise, he'll be very difficult to handle.
Singing in parades.
Yeah, though this movie is wonderful. One of the things that I liked about it is a very different kind of teenage movie. For once, it's not a lonely teenager who has problems, who's sick and in difficulty. This is a kid with all the answers. Ferris Bueller is the most popular kid in his school. His parents are very wealthy. He's dating the prettiest girl in his class, Mia Sarah, who we saw there. And yet he still has a charm that disarms any envy that people might feel.
You're talking also about Matthew Broderick, who can pull it off as almost no other actor of his generation in films, I think, can do. He has an instant rapport with the audience. And what does he do? He puts his life in perspective. Ferris Bueller, now I'm talking about the character he plays. He knows that high school relationships are transitory.
That's right.
And you believe it because it's Matthew Broderick.
And the movie puts everything in perspective, too. Sure, a lot of it is not quite realistic. It's larger than life. But that's the way we all remember high school. And that's the way that high school people sometimes talk about their experiences. The colors are brighter than they ever are again.
They're saying here, don't worry. Take life as it comes. Enjoy it. It's also refreshing to see kids on a day off like this, not dealing with drugs and not trying to go to bed with each other, going to a ball game, going to the Art Institute. It's a wonderful film.
And it's also a love letter to the city of Chicago, which I enjoyed. And I know as an inveterate New Yorker, you may resent that, but Chicago has never looked more beautiful or desirable than it does in this film.
I have a confession. I played hooky once in my life, went to a Yankee Red Sox game.
Only once, Jeffrey. I played hooky more than that, but let's not go into it because we're going to move on to our thing about the low budget on this film. You can go ahead and look at some of the big budget movies that come out today, and one of the ways they try to save money is by making deals with all sorts of brand name products for all sorts of subtle advertising right there in the middle of the films. So here is Nancy Glass to bring us up to date on this uplifting and inspiring trend.
Remember the days when images of soda pop and popcorn would sing and dance in hopes of luring you into the theater lobby for a little refreshment? Those friendly products filled you with a craving for sweets, but not necessarily a brand name. Now there is a subtle and more calculated form of promotion on the screen. Products like people are cast in the movies. In Vision Quest, when Madonna sings under the Michelob light instead of the moonlight, that is no accident. Agencies are paid tens of thousands of dollars to get their clients' products in the movies. This serves two purposes. It gives movies a more realistic look, and it saves movie makers money on props, sometimes millions of dollars a year. Products are donated for screen credit, which is more than an extra gets, but some goods are given bigger roles. In Secret Admirer, Pepsi had a walk-on and a speaking part.
Okay, I'll have a meatball sandwich and another Pepsi.
Good enough. I'll have a Pepsi too. Pepsi.
It's a bonus for a product to be seen and heard.
Haagen-Dazs, rum raisin.
It's not the kind of stuff that earns screenwriters Oscar nominations. And in Invasion USA, a pickup truck was given star treatment. It was seen on the screen so much, it sometimes even obstructed your view of the actors. But the truck carried most of the action anyway. Most movies feature 10 to 20 brand names. But films don't take every product, and products don't take every film. Agents look for an appropriate script, which doesn't make the merchandise look bad. And filmmakers look for products that make sense in a scene. Sometimes a product's future is predestined. Coca-Cola owns Columbia Pictures. So when this Columbia film needed a soda sponsor, who would get the role? Yoo-hoo? The benefit to the manufacturer is that they get a plug for less than the price of a commercial on Punky Brewster. And with video rentals, their ad can play on virtually forever. So the next time you hear Rocky lecturing his son on the virtues of a Wheaties breakfast and you feel a case of brand name burnout coming on, remember the adage that there are two words in show business, show and business. I'm Nancy Glass.
You know, the best example of what Nancy is talking about was in the movie E.T., of course, because E.T. is shown eating Reese's Pieces, and they said that the sales of Reese's Pieces went up 85% after the film came out.
And I think the M&M people had the chance to be there first, turned it down, and are they sorry, probably to this day. Michael, summarizing now our opinions on the movies we reviewed this week on Sneak Previews. Both Michael and I liked Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. Sure, it was dopey, but we laughed our heads off. But we thought the Manhattan Project was flat and slow-moving, with a hero who's thoroughly dislikable. And we agreed that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a wonderful, intelligent comedy which makes you feel young again. And finally, we felt that Hard Choices was a spellbinding, well-acted thriller, definitely the film to seek out.
And I hope people do.